Hey, it's JC1424 once again with another album review, and today we're going to be talking about the new album from Starset, and that is Horizons, released on October 22nd, 2021. I did listen to Divisions whenever it first came out in 2019 quite a few times, like at least 3 or 4 times, but I never got around to reviewing it because I just didn't have as much time back then, and I wasn't cracking down on album reviews like I am now. I mean, I've gotten more reviews done this year than I have in the past. Then before that album was Vessels, which I didn't care for too much, but everyone loves Ricochet if you're a Starset fan, and of course Monster is one of my favorites by them. And Transmissions was my introduction to Starset when they released My Demons, and I hear it on the radio all the time. And then I finally caught on and actually listened to Vessels whenever that came out. But I never actually listened to Transmissions, but there is a review of that album by Rocking with Robbie. You can click on this thing up here and you can check that out. I watch this channel all the freaking time. But let's talk about this album. It's got a pretty long running time of like an hour and 15 minutes. It's basically like a Tool album. It has 16 tracks, 15 of which are songs because the first one is an intro track. So let's talk about that one. Unveiling the Architecture. It's got like ominous transmissions in there and it just leads right into The Breach. But it's got some nice channeling left and right in the audio. But The Breach was one of the singles and has some beautiful verses with a soaring chorus. The bridge gets a little dirty, but it's kind of weak. Most of the electronics are used as percussion, but the modulated and jockeyed-esque voice is what I would say is really special about this song, if you catch on to it. It works as a single or opening to the album by sounding like a sunrise. And also the hook is just a pure delicacy.
So go on, then fill my eyes with fire.
Track 3 is Otherworldly. All that synthetic material surrounding the energy at the beginning of the song is much like The Weeknd or Blink-182, and you can't really tell this is a Starset song until the guitar just jids its way in there with the string section. And that's how you know it's Starset for sure. As opposed to the last song, we have a bridge that'll move mountains. It almost brought me to tears. It is so gorgeous. And this song is happy, and it dwells on faith. An odd outro of sorts from the last song changed the pace of everything going into this one, track 4, which is Icarus. The song itself isn't great or anything, just a slow-burning I told you so kind of driving rock, but it does provide a brief lesson in Greek mythology and literature, which is a big deal because of like sci-fi and what Starset writes about. Although I will say it's up for debate if Icarus was the same angel that was looked up to in track 3.
Take your time. You always fly right up until it burns.
Track 5 is Earthrise. It comes after another fair minute of dark transition, but obviously we find hope getting here. A romantic single that varies between soft and hard, much like Evanescence. The main dynamic here is even a bunch of distortion. The vocals get distortion. The drums get distortion. You get distortion. I don't know. And then there's maybe the fact that the key kind of fluctuates a bit during the bridge. The outro actually isn't too long for this song, to be honest.
I still fall for you like suns do the skies.
The 6th track on this album, Leaving This World Behind, is a song with more hollow verses than usual, and then it just bursts into the same lazy-ass chords. Even then, the staccato piano that leads it all is actually pretty cute. And I already mentioned Evanescence, I know. But the bridge here is just nifty and crafty, and it's so fucking cool. And then, again, we have a ridiculously, but nice, it is a nice one, a transition into the next song. Why are we doing this? It's so pointless. Track number 7 is Devolution. Thank God! We finally have something with speed and fight in it. The guitars mean business, but the waves of synth art in here is wretched. Holy fuck. And when the dark prophecy at hand unfolds, we have ourselves a nasty breakdown.
Convoluted lies. It's the end that you prophesize, and it's all pretend.
Track 8, which is the 7th song on this 15-song album, just to be perfectly clear, is Annihilated Love, and it comes from an evident feeling of disappointment with the damages of war. Starset, more like Star Trek. That's not even original. But while it is relevant to the story being told, of course, it has a lot of the same musical traits we've heard in the past 40 minutes, probably. We're only halfway through the album, and I'm unfortunately a bit bored. That is not good. Not to mention you got another 30-second transmission into the next song.
But I was deaf and annihilated.
In the 9th track, Alchemy, the protagonist seems to have lost his mind at the expense of all the intense events and changes that have occurred during the plot of this album. Some of it is even self-deprecating, but to be fair, I'm also losing my mind, because I was already bored, and this is just a very by-the-numbers song on Starset's part. It sounds so generic compared to everything that they've usually been making. It's not really that good on its own, then you put it in the middle of the album, and it just continues to set back the momentum of everything. And it's followed up by a creepy magician outro, which I can't hate on too much because of the Halloween vibes.
Alchemy, alchemy, tell me what you've done to me. Synthesize and transform.
I've gotten quick to reject slow songs, because let's be real, most of them are. But track 10, Disappear, is a very well-paced rock ballad that lets out a strong ending. You got vocals that come through just so elegantly, aside from the auto-tune, at least. Outside of the album, it's like a great grieving breakup song, and then within it, I guess it's just a failed magic trick, I don't know.
Now there's an echo calling me, just a shred of memory. Emptiness, but there's still a shadow. I catch it.
The 10th song and 11th track on this album is This Endless Endeavor. Aside from the reoccurring relaxing vibe and tempo across the album being found here, this song carries the verses and enters the bridge with its own separate type of electronics that we haven't heard yet on the album. It only makes sense after probably the best song on the album, with this agonizing feeling that you have one that's just about the fallout. It's a struggle to readapt to loneliness. Track 12, Symbiotic, is standard alt metal, but with Starset there's definitely a slight new wave orchestration in there. It's certainly motivating and insists the character shows mental and spiritual potential now. It reminds me of Otherworldly, but there's a lot more pride than happiness in this song as opposed to that one.
Shine your love, show your light, pull me out from the endless night. It's something cosmic, it's symbiotic.
Track 13, Dreamcatcher, comes in hard immediately. Why is that such a rarity on this album? What the fuck? As opposed to other songs, this one is extremely melodic. I mean, all the other ones are, but not to the degree that this one is for sure. Meanwhile, the violin and percussion just goes berserk, which just gets radical in the bridge and the ending. Things are going in a cautious but healthy direction theme-wise. He's just trying to focus and not get stuck in memory lane. Tunnel Vision is the 14th track on this album, and it is totally a Warrior style of dance rock. The vocal delivery is epic, man, it's just spitting bars. I swear we never hear Starset fuck with the bass like they do here, though. And then it is gnarly how the symphony gets all twisted up underneath the guitar. I'm sure everybody loves that if they've been listening to Starset at all. And for the bajillionth time, we get a meaningless interlude of sorts to follow that's like a minute long.
So go on, put up defenses, pretend there's no consequences, but it's just a dog and pony show. Why feel it when you can hide it? Don't look at it, just deny it.
Track 15, Infected. But we're talking infiltration and invasion of enemy territory. They can make way. Didn't realize the difference in this song's structure from everything else until I actually heard it within the album as a whole. But it's obviously intended to be a radio rock jam. At first I was like, oh, it's just another Starset song. That being said, it's a fairly aggressive, marchy bop. And it slaps really good.
We do it one by one, put your hands up and run, where it takes it to the panic.
And finally, the 15th song, the 16th track of the album, is Something Wicked. Probably one of the best songs on the album for everybody. It's just so empty and haunted by the piano and bells. It eventually grows into this roaring and dragging metal with a Humpty Dumpty-esque sung collapse. And I believe that this dark ending is essentially the ghostly remains of the civilization that was just intruded with the last song. But my final score for the new album by Starset, Horizons, released on October 22nd, 2021, is an 82%, which is, a high C. I totally did not just call Starset's new album a juice box, though. There's just way too much intermission on this album, and even worse is how their tone of music just hardly changes. Because you've got all these songs with, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, ending, and then a long-ass outro, and it's just only the songs that really have unique elements within all that really pull it off. The story behind it is all intriguing, and quite a few songs are great with or without context, such as The Breach, Otherworldly, Devolution, Disappear, Infected, and Something Wicked. That's 6 songs, but it's a 16-track, it's a 15-song album. There's like so much material that just, it kind of wore out the style of music that they were playing. But thanks for watching my review of the new album by Starset. Let me know what your favorite songs were, what you agree and disagree on. I feel like I have the same feeling with every Starset album, is that I just kind of get bored by their sound halfway or 3/4 of the way through. This has to be their longest one yet, because I enjoy Divisions a bit more. But see you next time. That's that, and album review over.